So grab your headphones, let the journey start. With Suzy's Vegas tales, she's stealing the heart. In the city of dreams, let's laugh and play. Suzy's Las Vegas podcast, come join the sway.
Well, hello there, and good afternoon, and I've got a wonderful guest today that I want you to meet. Her name is Michelle, and before I'm just going to give you a little tease. She's a woman of many talents. She's a nurse. She's a empowered speaker. She's got so many titles, I don't know where to start, and this is her new book, which is Dare to Care 2. We'll talk about everything. If you like my shows, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Hi, Michelle. How you doing?
Oh, I am amazing, and thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you and appreciate you bringing attention to the Dare to Care movement, which is what I'm trying to start.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear about. I want to hear about it all.
Yeah.
You're a woman of many talents. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for a long time.
Yeah.
Because, it's hard to admit when you've been a nurse for 30 years when you think you're only 30 years old, right?
Well, you started when you were 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, I got you.
Yeah. As I was going through my nursing career, what I discovered was that I was more interested in empowering the other nurses, because nurses don't realize all the time the control that they can have. I was also interested in empowering the patients.
Yeah.
People need to know what they can say, what they can do, what rights do they have. And that's what I was interested in doing, was empowering. And so that's how I developed, and that's how I became an empowerment coach. But then after we had that horrible time where we were all locked in our homes.
Right.
And it was a terrible time for nurses. It was a terrible time for hospitals. But I realized that people were forgetting how to care.
That's true.
And people were forgetting how to just do little things like hold a door open.
Yeah. Just the basics.
Yeah. And so at that point, I wanted to put out a book about caring. And how do I create a book about caring?
That's wonderful. Amen. I love it.
Yeah, and so this is where the Dare to Care movement started.
Okay.
And Dare to Care, the first book came out. It was amazing.
When did that come out, if you don't mind?
That was in June of 2023.
Okay.
And that book was about nurses telling their stories. I had everybody in there. Oh my gosh, you're not even, I had a nurse who was a nurse during 9/11 in New York.
Oh my God, I've got chills just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Did she told the story?
And she told her story of how she was doing home care, but she said she saw all this happening and she didn't know how she was going to get home to her family. And I have a nurse who was an Afghanistan refugee in the first book.
Wow.
I have a nurse who has cerebral palsy, who has these severe handicaps, and she can walk, and she's amazing, and I love her. But she's able to care. She's able to go that extra step. 1 October, you live here in Vegas. 1 October, when we had the shooting.
Yeah.
I have the ER charge nurse at Valley Hospital talking to me in the first book.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, your stories have to be just over the top,
over the top.
Yeah, it just leaves you.
And so that was book 1,
speechless.
And it was an amazing book.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, now I want to create a book for the readers.
Okay.
That first book was for the writers, right?
Yeah.
It was them telling their stories. It's so cathartic when you can write, when you can sit down and write and tell your story.
That's right.
It feels good. It's healing.
Yes.
But I wanted to create a book similar with multiple authors, but for the reader.
That's what this is?
That's what this is.
Oh.
So this
sounds good.
This book is Wellness Warriors Share Stories of Healing, Growth, and Empowerment.
Wow.
The reason is when you read these chapters, you're not going to just get, here's what happened to me. You're going to get, here's what happened to me, here's how I recovered from it, and here's what you can do.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That book is badly needed.
And it's holistic care. It's all of the authors in this, there's no take this medicine. It's holistic
It's
care.
the real deal.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it hit number one. We were
congratulations.
Amazon bestseller
Yay.
in multiple categories.
Yeah.
And we had the new release in all the categories but one. And I will tell you,
Okay.
that one that I did not hit new release in, first of all, was a very difficult segment. It was spiritual self-help. So that had things like The Four Agreements and Mel Robbins' new books, and all those is the book what I was going up against.
Wow.
I hit number 2. And I just sat there. That number 2 is so painful.
Yeah. But it's still wonderful.
But it was number 2. I'm not
Yeah.
complaining.
Yeah. Oh, no, not with the people that you're up against. Heavens no, I'd be tickled to death.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what the Dare to Care movement is. That's what it's about, and I'm so excited. There's nothing like this. There's nothing out there like this that I found.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Michelle, tell our audience and tell me about your life. Like, what brought you to this place where you're at
goodness.
now?
So-
I'd love to know your whole backstory. I really would.
My backstory is an interesting one. I was born in St. Louis. I was set up for success. I had blue collar workers, or my parents.
Yeah.
And I was literally set up for success. I went to parochial high school. Grade school. I went to parochial high school. Had everything I could want. And at 16 years old, I got pregnant. Yeah.
That must have been a little interesting.
In the 1980s.
Oh, yeah, really interesting. Yeah.
When you got pregnant, you got married.
Yeah.
There was no.
No.
There wasn't raising the child on your own. You got married.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that relationship, he was abusive, physically, emotionally abusive. And
sorry.
you don't leave.
No.
A good God-fearing woman,
Yeah, that's true.
you don't leave. And
You took it.
I did. And then when my daughter is getting into going to college, and I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
At what point do I need to think about myself and where I'm going?
Did you finally?
So it took me a minute.
Yeah.
My former husband actually had a gun and was out, and I just will let your imaginations run with that, but I did talk him into putting the gun away. And I was like, wow, here I am. Let's do this thing. Come on, Michelle, you're better than this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I left.
Oh, my God.
It took a lot. And even after I left,
Congratulations.
thank you.
I'm serious.
And it is,
I get where you came from.
yeah. Even after I left, the pastor of the church came and told me divorce is a sin. And I said,
Did you say my life is worth more than that?
I said, I don't think I want anything to do with your church anymore.
No.
And, and I didn't. And so then when I met my now husband, Christoph J. Weihman,
Yes.
and I know you.
He's wonderful, yes. Hi, Christoph, how you doing? We're going to have you on the show, too.
And when I met him, like one of our first dates was he asked me to go to church with him. And so he brought me back into the church, and into a church that believed in me as a human and not me as a wife, as somebody else that was just there.
Yeah.
Christoph and I met in St. Louis. We moved to Las Vegas soon after we met. Like, we met in November. We moved here in January together.
Well, congratulations.
And we got married the following November.
Yeah.
And so
tell me about your wedding date. You'll love this.
So when Christoph was like, when are we going to get married? And he said, I have a date picked out. And he told me it was November 12th. And I looked at my calendar and I said, that's a Tuesday. Who gets married on a Tuesday? That's just weird. And he said, well, it's 11, 12, 13. Okay. That's pretty cool, I guess.
That's kind of good luck.
And it made me know that he actually thought about it. It wasn't just
he did.
well, let's get married. It was so and we find out that the getting married 11, 12, 13 was a huge day to get married in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Who knew?
Yeah.
Like hundreds of thousands of people got married that day here in Las Vegas.
It's called lucky.
It is.
I love that.
But yeah, so when we moved here, I was a nurse. I'd been a nurse forever.
Yeah.
And so I was working at one of the local hospitals. Now I'm at Valley Hospital, and it's a good facility, and I work there one day a week, and then I do my empowerment coaching, my podcast, and writing, and all that good stuff that I love doing.
Oh, that's
so
wonderful.
much, as well as playing with puppies and working with some of the local rescues.
So you're a dog mom too.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't live without them.
Yeah,
They
that's
bring
for
so
sure.
much joy to our
Don't
lives.
they though? And I'm sorry about the loss of your
Yeah,
baby.
we just lost Bruno. He was our little Chihuahua. He was 10 years old. We have 5 now, so I still have plenty of puppies, and I love them all so much. And it was a difficult loss for me.
Oh, yeah.
He was my little soul dog.
Yeah.
But Lily, my girl, she's 14 years old. She's been with me through the worst night of my life, all the way to moving to Las Vegas. She and Carly were in our wedding.
Oh, wow.
They had their little hair done, and at the little Church of the West, they brought them in, and they got to be in the wedding and take
that's
pictures
good.
with us. And
That's wonderful.
yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. So yeah, we work with several rescues. We work with Positive Difference is one of the rescues that we
you
work
do?
with here.
Okay.
And we've gotten 3 of our kids from there so far. And they are fantastic. They're a great organization. Positive Difference is something really special to Christoph and I.
Tell us about it. Please.
They help.
Yeah.
They rescue dogs, and we have
Any type of dog, or?
I've mostly seen them with smaller dogs, but they also have bigger dogs. I know that. So they get in there and they help. When someone finds a dog, you can reach out to Annette Thomas, and she'll help find another rescue if she doesn't have room, or else she'll find a foster. And they also pull dogs out of the Animal Foundation. Unfortunately, the Animal Foundation can only handle so many dogs.
Right.
And if they get too many, then they have to euthanize. And so they pull them before they euthanize.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
We have fostered. We fostered our first dog, and everybody told me you're never gonna find a home for that dog. You're gonna keep it. And I said, I'm not gonna keep this dog. No way. And I did not. I found him a home.
Okay.
It was with my daughter.
See, there you go. Keep it in the family.
So he's my grandpuppy. The next time we went to foster, it was a whole litter. And again, people are like, I'm not gonna keep a whole litter of dogs.
Yeah.
And ended up one of those he had no instinct at all to go elsewhere. Yeah. So we said, okay, well, I told my husband, I said, I think we should keep him. I think he's supposed to be ours.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we're not keeping him. That's yet to be decided. I said, well, if we keep him, you can name him. Oh, well, that's yet to be determined. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and keep him.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let you name him. And since you kept calling him Yet to Be, we call him Yeti Boy.
Yeti Boy. See, you figured out how to get around that, didn't you?
Got around that. The latest one we worked with Positive Difference was this little guy that was 14 years old.
14 years old.
And someone he's a Yorkie, 5-pound Yorkie. Somebody put him out on the streets of Vegas.
Oh, dear God.
So they found him. They told us, oh, he doesn't do much. He's really not going to be with us long. And I told Christoph, I said, let's just bring him in and we'll foster him and see where it goes. Well, once we fostered him, start giving him good food. Yeah. And I have him on supplements. Yeah. He has some arthritis, so some supplements for that and some other stuff. Now, this little guy, he's like bopping around. He looks like he's 5, Yeah. And he gets his hair cut, and he loves to have clothes on. So I know whoever had him at some point was putting him in clothes. Yeah. But those are all from Positive Difference, and they're all amazing. Positive Difference is such a good organization.
Where are they located?
She does different. Is
it spelled positive?
Positive.
Okay, P-A-W.
P-A-W. Okay. Positive Difference.
Okay.
And Annette works out of her home, but they mostly have fosters. Yeah. So you're not going to go there and pick out a dog. No. So what they do is they have them at PetSmart and stuff like that. They have adoption events. And it's every Sunday at the PetSmart in Summerlin. Okay. And you can go in there and you can just hold and pet them. You can choose to foster or you can choose to adopt.
Oh, that's great.
And it's so good. And like if people are, there's a couple of things. Like one thing is people don't want to make a long-term commitment.
Yeah.
Take a dog home for a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take it home for a week.
Yeah. What can it hurt?
And then if you're like me and you're like, nope, not gonna give that one back.
Yeah.
Then you can adopt it, but at least
give it a chance.
And also you can see how it fits in your family.
Yeah, dare to care.
You can dare to care, and that's what this is all about. That's what this game is all about, is caring about something more than you care about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole game is about.
Yep.
Yeah, Christoph and I, speaking of puppies, I'm going to tell you, we are also putting together a book called The Puppy Principles.
Okay.
I love this so much. This project is like, especially after the loss of Bruno.
Yeah.
Now, before Bruno, we've had this idea for a while.
Yeah.
Losing Bruno, I just want to get his story out there. I want to tell people what it's like to have a soul dog, a dog who just reaches in and grabs you by the heart and won't let go.
Yeah.
And so I want to get this out there. I want to get this started. So Puppy Principles is where people can, there's a small fee involved, and you can write a chapter about what you've learned from your dog.
Yeah.
How fun is that?
It's fabulous.
Every dog has its own personality. You've got multiple dogs.
Yeah.
And so your dogs all have separate personalities.
Yep. Mine saved my life.
Yeah. And how did your dog save your life?
That was a very interesting thing. You mentioned about your husband with the gun. Mm-hmm. I had somebody when I lived in a penthouse down there on a strip, and this was the same time with COVID. And he was there with me, and he got some bad news from his mother and father, and he was having a tough time. And he basically decided to end his life.
Wow.
And I didn't know what he had in mind. I didn't look for the signs. And he left the apartment, then he came back. He came back in the middle of the night, and he was standing right above me with a gun. And my Westie, Casey, who is 13 years old now, and my little dog Ice, which is now 9, Casey moved over and he laid on my chest. He was on a bed with me, and Ice was beside him. And I thought he was trying to get attention, and he wasn't. He literally shot himself and fell on the floor. And so I credit Casey with my life. Yeah. And I understand about a soul dog more than you think. I do.
Yeah, it's something so special, and like people don't understand.
Yeah, they're connected.
That they're so connected, and you know that dog would have done anything to protect you.
Yes.
And
exactly.
I joke because I always tell people, like, Bruno would sleep right here next to me, right beside me.
Yep.
And when Christoph puts his arm around me, he would bite him. Every night.
It's called my turn.
This is my mom. Yeah. You cannot touch her.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he was there to protect me every step of the way.
Yeah.
And you know, he fought. He fought, and he tried to stay with me.
Yeah.
And it was a tough loss.
You know the feeling, don't you?
Oh, so much.
It's still hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost impossible.
Yeah, I know.
So it's Bruno, he was a good boy.
Yeah.
And he's always with me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's amazing is, as I told you, I got his little paw prints tattooed on my arm.
It's beautiful.
It's his little paw prints right there. So he's something special.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy for you.
Oh yeah, I am too. It's just life is so amazing, and that's what we have to realize is, again, it's just about caring about something more than you care about yourself.
That's true.
And yeah, I tell people, put your oxygen mask on first. You know, I'm all about self-care. I'm all about empowering women.
Right.
And, you know, I don't want women to put their family first all the time. But there's like a difference between putting other people first.
There is.
And caring about something besides yourself.
That's true.
And that's what I'm trying to start. I call it the Dare to Care movement. I tell people, this is not a podcast. This is not a book.
No.
This is the Dare to Care movement. And I carry these little bracelets in my
They're
purse.
beautiful. See, she
And-
gave me one too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I
there we
carry
are,
I
Jerry
carry
Karen.
these in my purse, and I carry these in my purse
Yes.
because when somebody does something kind, I get one
Yes.
out and hand it to them.
Yep.
And I tell them
Transplant
thank you.
Hope.
Yeah, Transplant Hope is another book, and another that I'm in, and that Christoph and I actually published. So Transplant Hope is a whole nother thing, and this is my friend Courtney Kaplan. Her son, Michael, here in Vegas, died by motorcycle accident 2 weeks before high school graduation.
Oh,
About 5 years ago.
oh my God.
He was an organ donor. And so Transplant Hope is to say that, with her loss, 6 people were saved.
Yeah.
With the loss of Michael Sigler, 6 people have their life, in addition to organ and tissue and eye. And
Yeah. All of the.
my very good friend Courtney, she actually met her son's lung recipient
Did she?
and could listen to her son breathe.
Oh,
Transplant Hope is a combination, it's a collaborative book also. And it has authors that are transplant recipients, live donors.
That has to be a very amazing book with the stories
yes,
in that.
live donors,
Yeah.
donor families, and then they throw in a nurse who dealt with, that would be me,
Yeah.
who has taken care of transplant patients.
How many have you done?
How many transplant patients?
Yeah.
I've been a nurse for 30 years.
So-
I couldn't
so,
tell you.
yeah.
I told her a story that happened most recently, and
Tell
that,
us the story. Please, can you?
absolutely. I was in the ICU, and in the ICU I was supervisor.
Yeah.
And the supervisor of the ICU is also the rapid response team. That means that there's a patient having trouble. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to give you a little backstory.
Okay, good.
So we get this call overhead, and we hear it, and it said, "Rapid response team to room such and such." Okay. So then the next thing we hear is security to room such and such. Well, what that typically means is that there's a family that's upset.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay. But then we hear maintenance to the same room,
All 3. Okay.
and then code blue. And so then we all go running.
Yeah.
So we run up there, and we get up there, and the patient was in very, very poor shape, and we did CPR, and we did everything. There's medication, and then
Yeah.
resume CPR, and shock, and check a rhythm, and then do more medication, and resume CPR, and shock, and no rhythm, and resume CPR, and shock, and then all of a sudden we have a rhythm. And it's like, oh my God, we got one. We got her back.
Oh,
And we get her to the ICU.
that must have really been touch and go.
And we get her to the ICU, and we did everything we could, but unfortunately there was no brain activity.
Oh,
And so her young child had one wish, and that was that her mommy could be an organ donor, because at least then something good would happen after what happened to her mom.
oh my God.
And so taking care of that from the beginning all the way until we took the patient in to have the.
I'm speechless. That would be just.
It was just a crazy, wild, like so high and so
Yeah.
low, but the fact that this little person, like all
Yeah.
she wanted
Little girl.
was to be
Oh,
able
my
to.
God.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
That had to take your breath away.
to be a nurse, to be able to
Yeah.
facilitate this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And not just facilitate it, but to be able to bring her back enough where we could get her to that point,
Right.
was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what, people say being a nurse is a calling. No, being a nurse is a job. And what is it? What is it? And nobody really knows, because
No,
you can't
no.
be a nurse if you're there for just the income.
No.
Because it's hard work.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Every day is different.
Every day. And
Yeah.
so, it was one of the stories that have really touched me over the years is that one, because that was what the mom wanted, or the daughter wanted rather, was for her mom to be able.
That way her mother would go on. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I a million of these. I have a million of these.
Yeah.
And it's that's part of being a nurse for 30 years, but it's also part of being in leadership.
Yeah.
It's part
that's true.
of being willing to do whatever. I never asked my staff to do something I wasn't willing to do. Mm-hmm. And so I would go out, I went all in. And that's just the way that I worked in leadership.
Absolutely.
I never went in a position where I was like, oh, well, you go do that. I don't want to. It's too hard. Mm-mm. That's not.
No, that's a real leader. Yes, that is leadership.
Thank
Absolutely.
You. Yeah, it's so funny because I never meant to get into leadership. When I started as a nurse, I was in St. Louis. I was at Barnes Hospital, BJC, Washington University. It's a big hospital. Yeah. And I was the only nurse who was on staff. The others were agencies, travelers, and stuff. So I was a new grad. I had been a nurse for like 3 months.
Wow.
And they said, "Oh, you're going to be the charge nurse."
You said what?
I can't be the charge nurse. I don't know what I'm doing. But I learned so much because those nurses took me under their wing.
Sure.
And they showed me what leaders do.
Well, I understand why they did. I mean, your personality, everything about you just, brings out caring and love and all of the above. Yeah. That's
You're very
wonderful.
kind. That is a true Midwest thing. A true Midwest girl.
Yeah. I'm really from Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I live in Las Vegas, but I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, so I get it, believe me.
Yeah, we've been here since 2013. Christoph and I moved here. We met in November of 2012. And then in December, he moved here. And then in January, he came back and got me and the puppies.
There you go.
and here we are.
Yes. Big family happiness ever since.
Oh, yeah. And then a few years after that, my daughter moved out here from St. Louis. Then my son moved to Colorado, which is halfway at least.
Sure.
And then
so everybody's getting closer.
My other son actually moved to Las Vegas as well, so I got them.
You got them all close.
Mama Bird's getting them in.
That's wonderful. I'll tell you what. There's so many things I want to talk to you about, and I mean, this has been. Do you realize how fast our time has gone?
I know. My goodness.
I want to have you back, and so now let's go back to your book here. This is Dare to Care 2, right?
It's Dare to Care, the number 2.
Okay, Dare to Care.
Yeah.
Okay, and then number 1
is Dare to Care, just the regular. So this is Dare to Care. Wellness warriors share stories of healing, growth, and empowerment.
Okay.
The first book was Dare to Care. Healthcare superheroes share stories of resilience, hope, and inspiration.
Okay.
This one is the purple one.
Okay.
The other one is blue.
All right.
So I swapped the colors around a little.
Okay.
But yeah, they're both excellent books. They're both books that you could easily get someone going into that field of healthcare or of wellness.
Yeah,
whether
wonderful.
It's Reiki masters or massage therapists.
Sure.
Those are all in this book.
Are they really?
Yeah. It's so much fun. And
that's great.
I just released it on Friday. Like I said, hit number 1 in multiple categories.
Well, congratulations.
I am so excited about it. And I love the first book. You can't compare children.
Yeah.
I love the first book.
Okay.
And this is my second born.
Oh, that's wonderful. And thank you for bringing it in, because I'm definitely going to read it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'll also sign it for you.
Okay,
I will make sure.
I would love that. I would.
I will make sure
Absolutely.
I sign it for you.
So will you come back and be on a show again?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And
that
then
would be fun.
we'll have to get your husband to come in too.
Yeah, I'm sure he would enjoy that. We have so many things that he has going on, especially since so many of your listeners are Vegas.
Yes.
We run speaking events, and we run, and he's a speaker coach. He helps people learn how to communicate better.
That would be wonderful. I'd love it.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
It'd be fun to reconnect with him again.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's
nice man. Very
and
nice.
he's a great puppy dad.
Yeah, there you go.
When Lily, our oldest, gets upset, I'm like, here, you need to take her. Because he's calmer than me.
Yeah. And he straightens her out, huh?
He just holds her, and he's just so calm, and I'm just like, stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard when you're used to being a healer.
Yeah.
And you're used to fixing things.
Yeah.
And to not be able to fix when you've got a baby that's hurting. And you can't explain to her why, because she's a dog.
Yeah.
So that's what's been difficult for me.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, congratulations.
Thank you.
I am just so tickled for you and
you.
the success. I mean, it's coming in.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy and it's wonderful. You know, that was our show today, but what I want you to do is like, subscribe, and share. And please put some notes. You know, we want to have her back on again, so do me a favor, bring Michelle back. And we're going to share it on her site too. She's
Absolutely.
also a podcaster.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. That's our show for today. Bye-bye. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So grab your headphones, let the journey start with Suzy's Vegas tales. She's stealing the heart in the city of dreams. Let's laugh and play Suzy's Las Vegas podcast. Come join the sway.